Community Schools at 6:40. Can you please call the roll?
Dr. Early.
Present.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe.
Present.
Mrs. Richardson.
Present.
Mrs. Chopra.
Present.
Mrs. Whitby.
Here.
And Mr. McCain.
Here.
Okay, next we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Dan.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Everybody will have to excuse us tonight. We're having technical difficulties that we can't get the screens working because of software issues, but we still will have our presentations.
All right.
Okay, can I please have a motion to approve the agenda?
Place forth a motion to approve the agenda as a
Second.
written form.
Okay, it's been approved in second. Can I please have the vote?
Mr. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mrs. Whitby.
Yes.
Dr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Richardson.
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra.
Yes.
And Mr. McCain.
Yes.
Okay, with a vote of 7-0, motion carried. Can I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, please call the vote.
Mr. McCain.
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe.
Yes.
Dr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Richardson.
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra.
Yes.
And Mrs. Whitby.
Yes.
Okay, with a motion 7-0, motion carried. Can you please have the superintendent's report?
Thank you so much, Board President. Again, I apologize to the community. We're not able to show all of the great pictures, but East Point High School recognized the class of 2025 honors graduates and senior pinning earlier this month. We also had the all-academic banquet and honored Samantha Gilbert as our outstanding student leader. After graduation, Samantha plans to attend the University of Michigan and major in psychology. And Samantha has gotten a full ride scholarship to the University of Michigan. And she and her mom and her friend were a delight at the banquet. Mom has a very amazing story about perseverance. And so to be able to celebrate Samantha was an incredible honor. This summer, we will have Meet Up and Eat Up at 2 site locations. This is being offered by our food service. It is open to anybody in the community. Children 18 and younger would be able to get food at East Point Middle School and East Point High School. Breakfast will be served 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then lunch will be served from 11 to 12:30. A point to note about Meet Up and Eat Up is you must eat food on location. So you can come to the school, have a great breakfast and have lunch, but you must eat them on the location. We are having our first ever family and staff 5K fun run and walk. And unfortunately, I would be displaying a QR code to encourage registration. It will be 5 p.m. on Friday, May 30th, and the fun run will be all around the campus of East Point High School. There will be healthy snacks and fun activities for families and kids, and I just want to make sure you know it's a fun run and walk. So don't let the R word scare you away. You can walk and be part of the fun walk as well. So a huge thank you to Paris McCarthy and Amy Cirillo, Food Service Director and Athletic and Activities, and the Wellness Committee for putting this activity together. Again, it is 5 p.m. Friday, May 30th. Our art exhibit at East Point High School will be this Wednesday, May 14th, from 4 to 6 p.m. in the High School Media Center. The show is free and open to the public. Next, there would be a great QR code, a reminder to parents in your school newsletters. We are sending out our annual parent survey, and our team pays attention and listens to the feedback that families provide us. So please make sure to provide your opinions about the services that we're offering in East Point Community Schools so that we can continue to get better. I'm happy to report that we have seen progress in parent perception data in our transportation deliveries. So we had lots of challenges last year. The team worked on them, and we're seeing that parents are appreciating and acknowledging that transportation is much better than last year. Also a reminder, parents and families, we are transitioning to K-5 elementary schools. The community of East Point will be divided into 4 quadrants. They have been divided up based on student enrollment numbers to balance our 4 elementary schools. So please check in with your local elementary school and make sure you're registered for next year. Upcoming events, we have our East Point High School Art Show, 4 to 6, this Wednesday, May 14th. Prom is happening at the Rooster Tail on May 17th. No school, May 26th for Memorial Day. I know the Memorial Day Parade group would love to have you here and in town and participating in the parade. May 29th is our commencement, and it will be hosted at East Point High School this year. May 30th is the family and 5K run and walk, 5 p.m. at East Point High School. June 12th is the last day of school for students, and it is a half day for students. So next up, I'd like to invite Crescentwood Elementary School Principal Stephanie Meringue to the podium, and the board will be able to see Stephanie's update on their Chromebooks, but unfortunately, we won't be able to publish it, but we'll find a way to share, Stephanie, because you did a really fantastic job on that. So, board, Stephanie Meringue.
Good evening, board, Superintendent Gibson, and community. I'm Stephanie Meringue, the principal at Crescentwood. I came in this past August. My main objective at that time was to dive in and work on the climate and culture of the building. As a former student of our schools and proud graduate of the class of '97, my experience as a student was positive, and I wanted to make sure my students and staff get the same experiences. Some of the highlights that you'll notice through the slideshow, we had the fire department come in. They did a safety presentation for the students, and the students were really excited because they were able to go outside and see the trucks. We had Doug Shear Magic Show, and he came to our building twice. We did around bowling and character development, and then we did one on reading adventures. So our students were able to participate, they were part of some magic, and they were really excited. They're like, but I don't know how it happened. And so the whole thing was like, well, it was magic. So it was really cute to see their faces light up. Monthly, we have perfect attendance in Star of the Month assemblies where we recognize teachers nominate a student each month who make green choices. That's one thing we pride ourselves on, our red and green choices this year. I do daily Starbursts, which our students can get unlimited numbers, and those students are announced every morning on the PA. They're also, their pictures taken. I put it on our dojo, and then they get Starburst too. We have PBIS rewards. We had a dance glow party. The kids really seem, I asked for feedback from them, and they just said, I want extra recess. So I'm like, well, that's easy. So we started incorporating extra recess, and we're gonna be doing an ice cream social at the end of the year. We had Miss Bonet. She had offered a pottery club for 8 weeks to our students, and they were digging in, molding with clay, and had a lot of fun with the creations there. She couldn't order enough clay. We had to keep on ordering more because the kids just kept on making some more. Teacher Appreciation Week was last week, and you'll see in the slide, our staff, some of our staff members were dressed up for country western. We had a theme where there were the teachers' pictures around the building as outlaws. And then our paraprofessionals were accomplices. And in the morning, I would give off some clues for the students and staff to participate in finding out who was the accomplice and who was the outlaw. And there was a winner, and I presented it on the announcements, but the kids enjoyed joining in on that and making those guesses as well. Our first graders just attended a trip to the Detroit Zoo. It wasn't the best weather day. It was last week when it was all rainy, but they survived. They came back. They had a lot of fun, but if you saw anybody, they were tired. Those babies weren't even excited to go to gym when they came back. They were done, but they had a great time. Our second graders just came back from Lake St. Clair Metro Parks Nature Center, where they had fun digging in the dirt and looking through magnifying lenses and looking at various items. Teaching and learning that has happened. Well, our teachers received that new curriculum in reading and math, where they were given supports from the curriculum coaches from the company. And our teachers definitely enjoyed having that opportunity working with them. We're the only building in the district, but also the county, that have had implemented a guided reading intensive training, which we call GRIT. It is probably my favorite part of the day going around. We just incorporated it to our kindergarten level. So we have GRIT that starts off in the morning, first grade, second grade, and then kindergarten. And there are students in groups the size, it can be anywhere from 2 kids to 5 kids working with an adult. So we have 5 different groups going on with paraprofessionals, our interventionists, and the teacher. So that is one thing that we strive that we're gonna continue next year. It's working on reading strategies at the students' level. We have our TK students, transitional kindergarten students, are pulled out with an academic pair as well for additional phonics work during the day. That's in the morning, so they can get their GRIT in the afternoon. We started, when we got back from Oklahoma, our leadership team, we decided to put data-driven as our focus. Yes, we're K2, but we still have data. So we are doing a lot of things in our PLC groups, digging into data, whether it's looking at our iReady, diagnostic, NWA we'll look at too at the end, but even those assessments, weekly assessments, they've been looking at. We have a behavior tech who is an amazing asset for our students and staff. She continues to work with our students and our peers, developing behavior plans, student contracts, and daily check-in and check-out. In this week, her main focus is more on positive behaviors than the negative. And just alone for a Monday, we've already seen like an improvement, because Mondays we know it's hard to get back on routine, but today it seemed to really work. In our next slides, you'll see that we had a couple of our Title I nights. We had Bingo for Books, which was right around at the beginning of December. And kids, and families, they played bingo. And we had refreshments, and they got books for prizes. We had, what is her name? I forgot her name. I'm drawing a blank. We had a bookmobile come in, and she had tons of books when they left. But before that, the students were excited and their families. We had Santa come in and visit, and at the end, families were able to take pictures with Santa, and students were able to sit on Santa's lap and get a prize, a treat too. Our Under the Big Top, which was our March's Reading Month, was by far our biggest turnout this year. We had over 300 parents, families RSVP, which we still didn't have that many show up, but we still had over 120 in attendance, which was by far greater than our December one. So that was run by Marissa Smith, one of our first grade teachers, pretty much organized that night, but the whole month of March. We had some fabulous activities that took place. You'll notice our data dig going in. We have our iReady. We've made some gains. With our Grit and Play, we're hoping that narrow down the number of students in red. And like I said, our numbers, we're just now digging into the iReady this week and last week, so I didn't have those numbers to get into our slideshow tonight. Our math, our numbers are still, we have more students in red in the second grade. I was just able to hire an additional para through our Title I funds to join our team, and that's been her main focus from the morning until in the afternoon. She does small groups with the math supports, and she gets the work from some of the assignments and lessons from, in the games from the teachers, and she incorporates it with the students. So she's a valuable asset to our team right now. But that concludes, I believe, my slide. I know I was gonna look at some of the upcoming events that are on there. We have our kindergarten field trip that's coming up June 2nd. We have field day June 3rd. June 4th, we have the reptile, they're coming out to us. And we have 3 sections, so our kindergartners will all be able to touch. They're breeding 10 to 15 type animals for the kids to pick up and hold. Everybody will get to do that. So we have 3 hours of that. And then we have our last and final assembly of the month on that June 6th. And I'm trying to do all this from memory, you guys. I didn't print this one out. June 9th, we have our end of the year celebration for second grade and our kindergarten. And actually, our first grade is May 29th. As long as there's no rain days, then they'll be the next day. So we have a lot of great things coming up right now. It's the end of the year and we're trying to finish strong. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have one. Yeah, she was talking fast and I was trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, I was too.
So, students in the red, how far,
How many grade levels? That's
yes.
3 grade levels behind.
and how close are you to?
So like I said, the iReady diagnostic isn't done yet. We just started. My goal was 5%, if not more, increase for our students, which they did it the first round in winter. So I would like to see 5% more, which is, when you think of 5, you're like, that's not a lot, a big percent, but I'm going to guess we're going to have under 50%, I would say, in the red for each grade level easily. I would think so.
We're in compliance with the state.
So it's K2, so they'll have
K2.
So I wouldn't have to worry about that, okay.
Next year, you can
Next
answer
year.
those questions.
See you next year. Thank you so much, great job, great job.
Can you elaborate a little on the data upgrade for GRIT? I don't,
So
just explain that a little.
you'll notice on the GRIT spreadsheet that you'll see that how many grade levels or how many levels they increase. So for instance, a kid might come in at a AA level, which is more of a preschool. And from there, they start going up by levels. If you look at level, this is just going off, I think it's level P might be at a 3rd grade level. And so we do have some students there. Of course, we're K2, but we're still striving for them. Those are independent students to get to that level. When students, we progress monitor them every 5 weeks to see how many levels they go up. So all these lessons that they get, so if they're in the B level, they work through that for 5 weeks. Our interventionist and our early on literacy coach will come in and start testing the students to see if there's any growth. And then from there, if their levels increase, then they put them up a level. Some students are bypassing one. I know one of my 1st grade classroom, I think she has almost all her students but 3 that are at grade level, just from where they started. And at the beginning, there was 11 that were shy of, I believe it was in the teens, from what I can recall.
And what does GRIT stand for?
Guided Reading Intensive Training.
Okay.
We thought when we started to develop it was when the Lions were really big and starting in like November and we were getting close. So we made it our thing, so.
That's what I kind of figured when I saw it, so, okay. Great job.
Thank you. you.
Okay, I have a question. You caught me with one of them under the big top, and it was various literacy stations for families to go through the basic around finding the suspect. So how did that sort of work?
So at every station, there were activities, whether it was digraphs or blending, and there was, at the end of the game, it was either the ringmaster, it was a tightrope walker, there was a character. So if they collected the character, they were starting to narrow down who the suspect was on who stole the popcorn at the carnival.
So it was for them to put things together to come up with clues and
So they
things.
had to go to each station in order to collect who it could possibly, narrow down their choices.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for presenting to us. I just wanted to uplift. I love that, you guys are the first building in the district and in the county to launch that GRIT program. So that's really exciting. Congratulations on that. And the data-driven approach is always exciting. I know that's something that we're working on across the district. So it's always good to see those numbers. And I love all of the, different events that you have around reading and books. That's something that was, I really enjoyed reading growing up as a kid. So anytime I see that we're doing any of these like reading events and support, and just the different kinds, bingo and under the big top, it's so fun. So thank you for not only just focusing on, enriching our students within the classroom, but making sure they have a fun and well-rounded experience in extracurriculars and field trips and things. And then my only question was the Arenas for Action at the building. You had mentioned one of the student success coaches had started a girls club, and then that you were also doing Wellness Wednesdays. I may have missed that, but could you say a little bit more about those two?
There was a slide that didn't.
Yeah.
Because I was just gonna read through it.
No worries.
So I have a student success coach who comes in once a week, who works with and does mini lessons for our students and staff. And so she knew that there was a need for my second grade girls, because there were some behaviors there, and we just wanted to make them feel included. So she put together a girls club. She meets with them at lunch. They talk about various different things. The other day, she brought in a bunch of different foods from all over the world. They were trying sushi last week, and I'm like, I want to see who likes sushi. And there was a couple kids, but she had different foods. And it's just a chance for the kids to be kids and to talk about anything that might be bothering them. And then, what was the other?
The Wellness Wednesdays.
Well, I did that as for April to get us out of kind of a slump and coming back from spring break. A staff member who said, well, why don't we the weather's gonna be breaking, so we started doing a Wellness Wednesday where kids and the teachers took a walk together outside the building, and we're just able to talk and walk and just use 10-15 minutes just to get them out and get those steps in. So that was one of the things that we did.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
So next up, I'd like to invite Danny Latham, as well as the gentleman. Are you not getting up? No. Okay, so. Danny.
Unfortunately, my presentation was all pictures, so I have nothing. No, just kidding. Just wanted to give everybody a quick update as to where we're at with the bond purchases and expenditures for this first series. Now, as far as technology goes, Intercomp was approved by the board back in February to replace the Wi-Fi system throughout the district. We're currently in the procurement process. Everything is available. It's being held for delivery until June 3rd so that it's not sitting in either one of our warehouses until then. The target start date is June 16th for install, which is the Monday immediately following the end of school. In the schedule, it looks like we're going to be able to get this done in about 2 weeks, starting with our biggest building first and then working to the smaller buildings. The goal here is to get through the high school and the middle school with as little interruption as possible for the summer programs. We are saving a date in July as a contingency date, so should we need it. As far as the fiber optic maintenance and repair that was approved by the board back in February as well, the drive through the district and mapping of the fiber, or mapping path of the fiber, walking the fiber, that's almost complete. There's a few areas that have been identified that need some attention, but I don't have a full report on that yet to report back to you. The next portion of the presentation shows you two examples of some damage to our fiber optic cables that we've had in years past, one being a squirrel chew, the other one actually being a bullet slice through a piece of fiber. That was actually took place on New Year's Eve at 12:02 a.m. The fiber went down and it was a bullet that went through the fiber optic cable. Tonight we'll be bringing you another item that we are moving forward with for the bond, which is the purchase of new security cameras throughout the district. That will be coming up in the next agenda item. And in the presentation, you'll see there's an example of what current camera video looks like versus the images from a high-quality camera that we're recommending for the board. So we're currently, right now, going through evaluating what's remaining as far as the bond funds available for technology and prioritizing some of the remaining items for this series of bonds. So that's where we're at with the technology.
We appreciate your update on where we are with technology. So Board of Education, that will conclude the superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you. Next, we have our hearing of the public, our first hearing of the public. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard? Open at 7:07. Okay, seeing none, closed at 7:07. So, Danny hit the technology. Our next is discussion item, technology recommendation for purchase of upgrade of district security cameras, video management systems, and low voltage cabling. You're back.
I'm still Danny Latham, and I'm bringing for you tonight the request to award the bids for our camera replacement project. It replaces the cameras, the video storage system, and the low voltage cabling going to those cameras. We issued a RFP back in February, and then the bid opening was in March, on March 19th. Based off the bids that were received and the criteria that we provided in the RFP, I'm recommending that we move forward with Grit Technologies for the low voltage cabling in the amount of $38,224, and move forward with Delta Networks for the security cameras and video management system in the amount of $242,404.36. And this is just for the elementary buildings and the early learning centers. The middle school and the high school will be in phase 2 of the project. And we split that up based on what funding was available in the bond series.
We need a motion. Okay, I need a motion to recommend for purchase.
I make a motion that we take the recommendations for purchase and upgrades to the district security cameras and video management system and low voltage cabling.
Support. With a question.
With motion and support, is there any questions?
Yes, there's a question following. Just for, kind of writing it down, what were the other two companies?
There was, if you, on page 3 here, there's the bid tabulation sheet. So the next bid would have been Presidio. However, in Presidio's response for the bid, there was a one-time discount to the district. And since this project is being done in phases, that would mean that in the next phase, we would not realize that discount, so our costs would increase.
Okay.
I have a question. How long is this video and storage? How long does the video, like say if I wanted to see a video from
30 days?
It's based off of how much video is recorded and the amount of available storage space, we retain video for at least 30 days. Which is compliant with record retention laws.
And I have a question as well. You said it started back in February and then in March. Was this money advocated back then, or was this new money or that we're speaking of?
So when the district went for a 2023 bond, part of the work of applying for the bond before an election is planning all of the scope of the possible work out. And what happens is you plan all of the work, and then as the work, I'm looking at Scott, because as the work goes on, costs increase or decrease. But this is all part of the bond from 2023. Unfortunately, we had to reduce some of the money that we had initially planned for technology due to some of the increased construction costs in other areas. So this is part of our bond package.
Okay, I have a second question. When you showed the videos of the destruction of the squirrels and all of that, is that part of, how did they do when the contingent, was that part of the contingent money set aside, or is this just one of those things where you're saying was added on to?
No, the images that I showed you are examples of the damage that has occurred to the fiber previously. So that's why it's important to do this maintenance that we're currently doing or currently undergoing, is because some of those fibers did not get repaired. They moved to what's called dark fiber, so that those fibers are put in service and the other two just sit. So now it's going back and repairing anything that needs to be repaired along the way.
Okay.
Dan, I got a follow-up question with Trustee Addy. Is that based on the warranty, and when does the warranty end before you go to the contingency money?
Warranty on.
The warranty on the equipment,
The fiber.
the fiber. Is there a warranty?
So on the cameras?
Yes,
the
on the-
fiber's already in the district. There is no warranty.
Okay, no warranty or anything, okay.
Maintaining what's current.
Okay, so the contingency funds always will be there that you tap out of,
If for repair.
if for repairs.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, with the fiber being repaired, that falls on the company that supplies fiber to our district, right?
We own that fiber. That's our fiber.
Yeah, we have to pay for that.
We have to pay for the repairs to fiber when there's damage.
Okay.
This scope of this bond project is to go back through and fix and do maintenance on
No, I
all of
understand.
those so that we have less
Yeah, I was just
damage
thinking-
repairs.
I think we're confusing what is previously going on versus this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is, like, I don't know anything about electronics, and I ain't gonna pretend like I do. I just want to know if the line's gonna be buried somewhere to half of these squirrels, get away from the gunshot, like,
That's the fiber stuff that was already approved. The fiber is where it's going to be. So it's up on poles, it's buried underground. So
Okay.
depending on where it's at in the city is where it's.
where is it going? Okay, look, that's all I care about.
Get up in the ground.
Are there any questions on the cameras?
No, I think the cameras, the views are
Much better.
wonderful. Like,
Much better.
you can see gravel on the ground with
Yeah.
those cameras. Are those like motion detected type situations too?
I will say they have the function, the
Ability
ability
to
to
do
be
it.
motion detected or continuous run.
Okay,
I also have the ability to change how detailed the recordings are, whether it be motion sensitive or continuous run.
yeah, because compared to the old to the new, ooh,
But you say you have the capability, so would this be, or you're just saying that if it's asked for or something like that, or will you include that in it?
Where appropriate, I will apply those settings.
Okay.
It depends on where the camera is.
yeah.
What's great is that you have Justin Mana and Matt Terrell behind you, and if you didn't answer those questions correctly, they were making faces to make sure that the board knew. And I think that you won, because nobody
'Cause
jumped
they
in to
didn't say
take over the
anything.
mic from you.
I'm gonna have to remember that next time, you guys gotta figure.
So you have a motion and a second on the table, Board President.
Sorry,
You got, yeah.
I had a couple questions.
Go right ahead, Ian.
All right, thanks. I just wanted to clarify the reason we're not doing all the schools at the same time is just based on funding, correct?
It was based on the presumed funding that we had available in this series. So we did not want to go out and spend more money than we had available.
Sure.
And we made some provisions for that in the RFP and in the contracts to extend current pricing that we've gotten for these into any scope add-on.
Wonderful. Okay. Because that was my follow-up. Wouldn't it be cheaper to do it all at once? But if you've already gotten that, that's
We
great.
did not want to take that chance of prices going up, so we made sure that that was an option within our bid.
Awesome.
Now with the cameras, are they, the definition is night vision and day vision as well, right? Is it the same resolution for both? Or is it?
It depends, it would depend on the camera.
Yeah, I think that's not.
Yeah, it depends on which model of, there are different models of cameras going into the district. There are some triple sensor cameras, there are some 360 cameras, there are some single sensor cameras, and it depends on the actual unit that we're talking about.
Okay,
I will tell you, anything will be better than an analog picture that we.
absolutely.
That's fine. Just two more questions. Is the recording stored on our server and the cloud or both?
Our local, there's a local storage solution for the video recording.
Okay, cool. Okay, and yeah, that's all my questions. Thank you.
No.
I'm sorry, please call the vote.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Dr. Early?
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra?
Yes.
Mrs. Whitby?
Yes.
And Mr. McCain?
Yes.
Okay, with a vote of 7-0, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, we appreciate you, and your gentlemen too, I don't know the names. Thank you, Matt and Justin. Our next is request for approval of overnight field trip.
Dun, 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 dun.
Good evening, Board.
Good
Good evening.
Bears.
I'm proud to announce that senior athlete Kalia Monroe has once again qualified for the MHSAA State Finals in shot put. It will be her fourth appearance as well as her fourth consecutive All-State selection. I think this brings a lot of pride to East Point High School and our community. To make it 4 times in a row as a freshman is an amazing accomplishment. She will be competing at the finals at Hamilton High School in Hamilton, Michigan on Saturday, May 31st, 2025. And I am respectfully requesting board approval for overnight stay and extended student trip.
I'm asking for a motion. No, that's what I want to say. I would like to make a motion to approve the overnight field trip for this young lady. She has been a dynamic student and she has really proved herself. So I'm asking for approval for the motion for the overnight field trip.
I second.
Okay, please call the vote. Oh, you have a question? I'm sorry, question.
Question. Where is Hamilton, Michigan?
Right, that was good.
Yeah.
Hamilton, Michigan is maybe 20 to 30 minutes outside of Grand Rapids. Is that
Okay.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And how many students?
Just her.
Just her and her parents
Escort.
or escort?
So right now, we have one, correct? One who's qualified. There is a slim chance that the 4x100 relay team would make it too, right?
Yes, so they actually, I was watching.
They're competing
the live-
right now
Yeah, I
on
was
a-
watching the live report. So they actually PR'd, our 4x100 and 4x200 relay team PR'd and came in first place. Sanaa Jones, Gina Chaffone, Azaria Wilson, and Chanel Reed. 4x200, 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Wow.
So then, can we amend it?
Well, so what the board's going to do is you're going to approve the overnight field trip. So it's just going to be the overnight field trip gets approved, and if additional athletes qualify, then the board has already taken one action to approve the overnight field trip. But we know that Kalia Monroe has already early qualified for states, and so we're going to go ahead and approve it this evening because the field trip is the
May
30th and 31st. Yes, ma'am.
I actually wanted to, if this isn't so much a question, but if it did boil down to just one student going in the future, would it be beyond our reach to offer another classmate or a family member to go with them?
It isn't the board's job to do that piece, just to follow the board policy and approve the field trip. And then the Director of Athletics and Activities will organize and set that up. We're working on getting the coach approved to drive the van, and so Paris will work on any additional riders. But the board's action is just to approve the trip.
To approve the whole trip, period.
Okay.
Not in a specific.
Yes.
Okay. We good? No?
Yep.
Ms. Addie?
Yes. Yes.
Call the vote?
Sorry, I had one question.
You got Ian down here.
Yes.
I'm just looking at the other hotels. I guess why was this one chosen in particular versus the other ones? Because it looks like there's some that are,
So I wanted to book the hotel rather early because they can fill up really quick. And I'm honestly a hotel snob, and I didn't want our student athletes staying at like a random motel or somewhere that wasn't comfortable for them. I pride myself on giving our student athletes a college experience on a high school level because it's not promised that all of our student athletes will go to college, and I think it's important that they have this experience in the high school. And she also wanted a hotel that had a pool so that she could relax. And I just thought it was a nice hotel with a good rate that was kind of significantly cheaper than a lot of the hotels already quoted here. And I just wanted to get it all squared away to where she didn't have to travel far on game day. She was in a location that was primed to be able to get a couple throws in and practice if she wanted to, and also in a location that had good restaurants that student athletes or kids like to eat at.
You want to be where you want to
awesome.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
Good.
You're welcome.
Looking out. You're looking out.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Whitby,
Yes.
and Mr. McCain.
Yes.
Okay, with a motion of 7-0, motion carried. Next, we have recommendation for approval of the 2025 construction elementary gym renovation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Aye.
So this kind of is rounding out the final renovations to the elementary schools. So on March 5th, the district sent out the RFP for renovations to the gymnasiums at all 4 elementary buildings. 11 bids were received back for the project, covering the 3 different areas of scope of the project, including painting, general trades, and flooring. And upon receiving those bids back, the total came back looking at the lowest bidders for each of those at around $1 million, which was quite a bit higher than what Carrie Weishaupt, the facilities director, had initially thought that it would come back at, as well as Bart Mallow. So they went back together to the lowest bidder and decided to see if that bidder would be willing to reduce the scope or what the cost would be if they were to pull certain things out of the project or defer them, and see if we could come up with some cost savings in that area, kind of do some things internally or outside of the bond funding to reduce that cost. And they were able to get a commitment to reduce the, by pulling those out, to reduce the total for general trades component by about $500,000, and see if they would kind of put in writing, I guess, or You know, Scott can probably explain this part better than I can.
The architect will issue a bulletin, and we'll get the formal pricing from the contractor and deduct it from their contract. And my plan is not to award to them until that bulletin's issued and I get it in my hand. And if it's close to what they told us it was, then I'll release the contract. But I want to make sure that they deduct is what they said.
Formalizing what they've communicated through emails and phone conversations, yeah.
So
Who are they?
will you be doing that in phases then?
Scott, do you mind coming up to the microphone so that everybody can hear you better, please? So this is Scott Schellenberger. He's our representative from Barton Mallow.
From who?
Barton Mallow, it's our construction company.
What was your question again?
No, I said it reduces the material, correct?
So
And will you be,
there were some like curtains in the gym they're not doing. So we're painting, we're doing the floors in the gym, and we're touching up the stage. You know, it's cosmetic is what we're doing. So, but that 500,000, it was the curtains and what else got yanked? Oh yeah, the basketball nets.
The basketball nets and the cabinetry on the front of the gyms was also on there.
The overhang doors,
Overhanging doors.
Doors we are fixing though.
yeah.
so you're doing more cosmetic work?
It's more cosmetic. Carrie,
Yeah.
and since we already did the inside of the rest of the school last year.
Turn the mic, turn the mic.
He wanted
Does
to
he have his
complete them
mic
all,
on?
at least cosmetically.
At the bottom?
Yeah,
Look at-
Yes, it's
I can hear you. And so you went from $1 million to 500,000?
yes.
I was trying to question. I'm fine. I'm not gonna go in those weeds.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
My question is always the contingency. Is the contingency going to be enough? Or you don't know until you get into the walls?
We're not really touching anything inside the walls. I'm comfortable with the 10%. And actually, most of the
Okay.
projects that we've done, we've actually hardly used the contingency. so
Okay.
We're managing it pretty well.
That's good to me.
And I had this question because I heard you saying it was $1 million and then it was going to 500,000. So are you trying to get in between that, or is it going to be on that end, or the other end?
If formally reduced by the amount that was communicated, by pulling those certain things out, then it would be $500,000. Because I think the contingency would be reduced a little bit too, so I don't want to give it an exact number, because there's usually 10% on the total cost, so we would just have to formalize that. But yeah, it would be right around 500,000 total for all three plus the contingency.
Yeah, Kerry wasn't comfortable. He felt that he wanted enough money because we're doing roofs and parking lots next year. And he wanted to make sure we had enough money to finish those, because that's infrastructure.
And then this project will finalize the work in the 4 elementary schools.
That's what I was
So there won't be any more, this will be the last of internal construction projects inside the schools. So Carrie Weissop felt very strongly about finishing up these gymnasiums and repainting the floors, sealing those, and then painting those walls, and then just superficial on the cabinets. So the full scope will be reduced. We have, in case the board was wondering, we did meet with bond counsel and make sure that this was an allowable action to have gone for an RFP, and bond counsel did get back with us that we can absolutely reduce the scope of the work through using the change order process and reduce the scope. So we will do those gyms. We had a lot of back and forth as to whether or not this is going to happen, but your action, the board's action tonight, will make sure that this happens, and it will happen this summer. If the board decides not to approve it, then we would go back out to an RFP, and that would be on the docket for next summer. But that would mean then more construction in our schools after everybody's already packed up and put things away multiple times as they've had construction. So what other questions might the board have
And the possibility of it being higher in price or something of that nature.
And it could be, Addie, you have trustee Richardson, that has been happening often with our construction projects. We budgeted for this amount, go out for an RFP, and it is way more than we anticipated. Construction costs have gone up quite a deal. I don't know what kind of percentage.
You've had heavy mechanical in your elementary schools, and they changed the refrigerant last year, and the prices went through the roof. So, and delay on equipment. So we were lucky we bid it out early enough to where the equipment was sitting ready right when school came out. So, and we just have one school left, and Mike's been working on it. This is Michael, he's my engineer, and we've done quite a bit of pull-ahead work already. So it should be minimal this summer.
And my other question is, we have all this material now. We're not waiting on it to come in because of what's happening on the outside with terrace and stuff. We have the material now.
It's just floor refinishing.
Okay.
So it's just sanding, repainting, stripe lines, resealing. There's no long lead items for the gym. We do have long lead items for the last school that we're doing. It's the casework's the only thing that we're watching right now.
Okay.
Yeah, just two questions. It sounds like these other items are things then that we would likely include in like either future general fund or a future like bond project or something like that? Correct?
If we consider to go for another bond, we could add the curtains as part of the work. And then we could, depending on how, we have the sinking fund, but we like to use the sinking fund for those emergency things. But as the year winds down, if the sinking fund hasn't been used, we could get curtains and use the sinking fund to do that. We like to save the sinking fund. It's kind of your rainy day account for when a roof fails or when pipes burst under a building or those things happen, and they will. So we like to keep that sinking fund as a reserve.
Okay. And then I guess my other question was, it seems like curtains, basketball hoop, overhang doors, but I was a little concerned to see electrical repairs on there, but those are obviously are non-urgent. And I only ask because I know we have older buildings, so.
Yeah, non-line safety. I don't remember any electrical repairs. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
So there are sump pumps in some of our gyms because they are on slabs. And so sump pumps have been put in. I don't think all of the schools have them, but I think 2 or 3 do. I can think of 2, okay. And so those sump pumps are back under the staging area. So the electrical is for any electrical work that needs to happen on those sump pumps.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, can I please have a motion for the recommendation for approval of the summer 2025 construction elementary gymnasium renovation?
So moved.
And Ms. Kane and. Okay. Can you please call the vote?
Mr. McCain,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes, Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra,
Yes.
and Mrs. Whitby.
Yes.
Okay, with a motion of 7-0, motion carries. Next is Board of Education, recommendation for approval of the 2025-26 central office structure.
Yep, Board President, as the board knows, I've shared with you the proposed central office structure for next year. Inside that proposal, it does include an aspiration to return EduStaff third-party contracts to be direct hires. As I've shared with the Board of Education, it would eliminate one of those positions and then reassign those duties to 5 different positions in the district. This gives the central office enough funds to stop using EduStaff as a third-party vendor. We will be substantially changing the job descriptions They will become more than just clerical support roles, and will take on some additional responsibilities. But that elimination of one position allows us to be able to do that. We will also, again, the board has the total package. If I can answer any questions, I'm happy to.
We had a package.
Yeah, in board book. I guess it's not a question, it's more of a statement portion. When I read this, restructuring, the fact of bringing them in from EduStaff and now they'll be a part of our district, that will give them more central office, for people to be able to come into central office, they want to be promoted in, that type of thing.
Yeah, what it does is it helps us with some of our career ladders as well. So it gives us an entry-level job into central office positions, as well as creates a more cohesive unit of the team. We won't have the EduStaff contracts and then the central office contracts.
Everybody will be under the same contract.
Everybody would be under the
school
same.
district.
Correct. Non-affiliate contracts.
Chair to the Speaker.
Yes?
Madam Superintendent. So we're not losing any positions?
We are eliminating one position. The person that was in the position resigned a number of months ago, and the district did not fill the position, as the central office team was hoping to increase the level for those other positions. And the resignation allowed us to start to think differently about how we might structure central office and how we could elevate those entry-level jobs to have a little bit more responsibility and end the EduStaff contracts.
With more opportunity as
A
well.
little bit more opportunity and some possibilities for some career ladders as well.
Thank you.
With the creation of the finance manager title, will there be added responsibilities that were not affiliated with the accountant title?
Yes, so the finance manager position, again, will take on the lion's share of the curriculum and grants work. We have a number of grants, and there's a lot of supplemental grants that are managed. So that finance manager position, as the board knows, we've had an accountant position posted since late October that we have not filled. So the creation, my team has been working on this, and the recommendation to make a finance manager position would allow us to pay a greater amount of money. It will also allow us to split fund that position and possibly use some grant funds to pay for part of it. And then it elevates the responsibilities as well for that position. You are correct, trustee.
Okay, and that's where the money is coming to, for the extra pay, for the extra work that they're doing. Is the grants going to cover that? Possibly.
Not for all of the positions. So it would end up being that we would have a HR specialist position. We would have a business specialist in the business administration office. Those two would not take as many of the job responsibilities. Pending the board's approval, my team will start to work on those job descriptions. But the finance manager will take the lion's share and the greatest part of the state and federal program oversight. And we will be sure to build controls in there for checks and balances.
So they will receive a responsibility acknowledgement of what the job entails so that they can be accountable for those particular
Yes.
job responsibilities, each one of them, with the changing?
Yep, the HR specialist position is currently vacant, so that would be a new person coming into that position. And then the two employees that are currently in special education and business have both been talked to about that additional responsibilities would be added and to their positions.
It's going to be in writing.
It will be in writing. Our team will make a job description, and then we'll formally meet with them and talk about those responsibility areas. But for now, we wanted to do the math and get the board to approve it. We didn't want to make job descriptions that the board didn't want to take this direction. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for approval of the central office restructure?
I just had one more question.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I just had one more because I look down here and I see health and so this will
Oh, they'll
also
get
go
the
up under.
benefits and stuff,
Yeah, that
yeah.
will go under the benefits as well as.
So they would become direct district employees. Currently, we pay EduStaff to contract for their services. So the employees get their benefits through EduStaff. They have a completely different vacation schedule. And so it benefited the district because this was a move done when the district was in budget deficit elimination. This was a move done to save money. So our team has worked through the numbers to try to make it a cost neutral by eliminating that other position right now. But yes, they will have district health insurance benefits.
What's on the floor?
And we need a motion for approval.
Make a motion.
Support.
What motion?
I read it.
That's messing with Chopper.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Chopper?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Dr. Early?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
Mrs. Whitby?
Yes.
And Mr. McCain?
Yes.
Okay, with a vote of 7-0, motion carried. Next is recommendation for board approval for board policy and administration guidelines on reproductive health and family planning.
Yep, Board of Education, we need to make two small adjustments to our board policies. I'm going to speak about both of them, but they are listed as separate items. The first is a adjustment to the reproductive health and family planning. And there are some minor language changes to the board policy. The bulk of the, I'm sorry, I'm toggling between the two documents in board book. It will remove some old language that no longer serve us, as well as clarify that. Then we will be adding more direct, explicit language in our administrative guidelines to comply with the legal requirements for sexual and reproductive health. There are no major changes to policy, only the elimination of a paragraph and a sentence. On the second matter, as far as transportation of students, while reviewing our board policies, it was discovered that we have a word in our board policy for the transportation of students that says bus. I am recommending the removal of bus. This would allow the van or other transportation modalities to be used. No major change, just a minor change. And then again, I will be making some internal changes to the administrative guidelines, as well as some administrative guidelines on the use of our van and who is allowed to drive it, and those pieces. And those will be spelled out with internal documents in the admin guidelines.
That was just the 2 and 3 is what she was talking about. 2 and 3. 2 and 3.
2 and 3,
Transportation
yeah.
is to take out van, and, I mean bus, excuse me, because we have vans.
We have a van.
They have a van.
So to take that portion out, and then for the recommendation for the budget to, for that reproductive, and you see in board book the paragraph that's been taken away. Is the, okay, so do we need to do them separately, or?
You need to do them separately.
Okay, so I'm asking for a motion for approval of the board policy and administrative guidelines for the reproductive health and family planning first.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, and please call the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, questions, any questions? None?
None.
Okay,
Mr. McCain?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Dr. Early?
yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mrs. Richardson?
Yes.
Mrs. Chopra?
Yes.
And Mrs. Whitby?
Yes.
Okay, with a vote of 7-0, motion carried. Next, we need the approval of board policy and administrative guidelines for transportation of students. And this is the section where we're just taking out the word bus in that, because it'll allow for other modes of transportation.
I make a motion.
Support.
And Mr. Williams. Okay, please call the vote.
Mrs. Chopra?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Dr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Whitby,
Yes.
and Mr. McCain.
Okay, with a vote of 7-0, motion carried. Next is the resolution for designating elective representative for the June 2nd MISD biannual election and identifying our candidate for board supports. So we, in our previous meeting, we already identified who will be going, and that would be Trustee Richardson and Trustee Chapa,
Alternate.
as the alternate, yes.
Shop as an alternate?
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's June 2nd, but we don't have the time yet. But we will make sure that you get the time to make sure that you have the correct time when you're supposed to be there. Okay? Also, for this resolution, we need to pick the two people that we want to vote for. So I would like to make a motion that we choose Mr. Don Hoover and Mr. Edward Fairley.
Second.
You
Okay?
say Edward Williams?
No, I didn't say no Edward Williams. Not yet, but if you want to get up there, let us know eventually. Can you please call the, any questions? Sorry, questions? None? Okay, can you please call the vote?
Dr. Early,
Yes. Ms. Whitby.
Mrs. Whitby,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mrs. Richardson,
Yes.
Mrs. Chopa,
No.
and Mr. McCain.
I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, with a motion of 5 to 1, because we have one abstain, motion carried. Okay, next we have our second hearing of the public. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard? Put it on the clock.
Good
Yes.
evening, Mary Hall Raver, member of the community as well as being a former board member. I have a couple of statements I wanted to communicate to you. One is about conflicts of interest. Based on some things I've been researching, we have to be really careful about conflicts of interest, especially when it comes to finances, because they can open the door to embezzlement and scandal. So I want you to be mindful of that. The other is how extensive are background checks made of employees. And I bring that up because of the situation with a parapro from last October that I was not aware of until recently, and hitting an autistic first grader with a shoe. Just looking at some of the comments the community is making, they're very upset that she wasn't fired immediately instead of given an opportunity to resign. Now, I'm saying this based on what was reported. However, our children, all of them, should be protected from anyone who has a proclivity of hurting a child. Personally, had it been my child, I'd be in jail right now. There is no excuse, no justification for hitting any child, and especially not a child with special needs. So I don't know what the process is for background checks, but it might be a good idea to be a little more intensive about that. I'd also encourage people to read the finance report in every month, because I noticed people's mouths dropped open when I brought up the two concerns I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wish to be heard? Okay, seeing none, hearing of the public closed at 7:49. Next, we have trustee announcements. Ms. Richardson.
Again, and until the closing of our school this year, asking parents to please try to get involved in the schools that your child will be attending on a regular basis. Get to know the staff and the whole gamut of who's in the school. the areas around the school so that you would know, and just help us to make yourself being known and seen, and so that you would come and have appropriate questions and answers that you can give us to help us to become better board members for this East Point School District. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you all for coming out, and we ask for your continued support. Our conferences that we went on a couple weeks ago was very, very, very educational for me. I'm learning how to become a better board member, the ins and outs of being a board member, with the help of Madam President and the rest of the board. Congrats to Samantha and Kalia, and I really commend Paris on being a hotel snob, because sometime, well, it may be the first time one of the kids have went to a hotel, period. So for them to go to a nice place is good. It's good.
Yes.
And I want to end with saying, iron sharpens iron.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Board. I want to piggyback off of our treasurer, congratulating the qualifiers for the state tournament and putting them in a nice hotel, Kayla Monroe and our track team. I'm just gonna speak it as though it were. But yeah, that's a great accomplishment. I did enjoy the presentation from Principal Moraine on the progress of our students since she's been there. Again, we had a very meaningful and great learning experience at the last conference. We go to these conferences not necessarily to have fun, but to learn how to better serve our communities and our district. And we also build relationships, and we also learn what other boards are going through. So we learn to appreciate, although we're not a perfect board, we learn to appreciate what we do have and who sits up here, because we hear a lot of horror stories. So thank you for our superintendent and the executive team for everything that you all do for our students. Thank the teachers. Congratulations to the new hires. And have a great summer. Be careful and look out for our children, because it's getting warmer by the day, and our children like to go out and play. Thank you.
I wanted to start out by kind of explaining why I decided to throw my hat in the ring for the ISD Board of Education. I know there was, one of the things we say is no surprises, and I know there was some surprise from the superintendent and board president, but I was really inspired after attending the MISD budget meeting and taking the MASB CBA class around ISDs and RESAs, and that was the main reason that I applied. I realized there was two, positions that were open, and just, thought it would be a good way to get more involved, and still intended to, keep, serving our district as you can serve concurrently. That was another thing that I learned in the classes. So, and a lot of it kind of goes back to some of the things that we were working for on here, just at the ISD level, such as increasing our focus on more equitable CTE funding and support. And then I also learned Genesee County, their ISD actually has student representatives from each district that go to their Board of Ed. So yeah, those are just a couple of things for consideration and part of the reason why I've thrown my hat in the ring. a few things I haven't had a chance to send to Superintendent Gibson, but I will after the meeting. The DNR has a couple of opportunities, including some free fourth grade field trips, and as well as resources for educators. And the University of Detroit Mercy Law School has an emoji debate team for 6th to 12th grade students. So just some opportunities that our staff and students might be interested in. I'm still working through my Shamrock salutes. I gave Wendy a few more today. So, and yeah, had a great time in Mackinac with the team. It was great learning with and from everyone. So I'm looking forward to taking more classes in these next few conferences that we have through the rest of the year. And I'm just consistently inspired by the ECS student achievement that we see both in the classroom, such as in the presentations from Forest Park and Crescentwood, but then also outside of school, in particular the athletic achievements. So thank you to our hardworking administration and staff, and keep up the great work to our students. And I'll end with a quote: what you have a right to do does not equal what is right to do. And that's from Potter Stewart, who is a former U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Thank you.
I just wanted to remind everybody and the residents, summer, kids are out in the street playing basketball. Look out for them. We can't be crabby and yelling at them and, call the city on them all the time. We just have, but we have to look out for them too.
Thank you.
All right. To Stephanie Moraine, a great presentation, and continue, if you hear us or hear this board, then continue your work. You're doing a great work, and your staff, to the administration and our infamous superintendent, Ms. Gibson, great job, and continue moving forward. We had a great icebreaker. I call it an icebreaker, an opportunity to take more than 80% of our board with us so they can see and understand. The Bible says, in all you're getting, get an understanding. And we've seen the change in how they pivoted in their movements and how they're learning and how we're learning each other as a solid board. And I want to thank and commend you. Trustee Ian McCain, don't you ever stop. Don't you ever stop. It's an opportunity, but opportunities will come. But it's time for you to take your seat, so commend you on that. Never stop. This is a solid master board, and we strive and we operate within those parameters as a master board, and we just don't want to have it for 1 year, but for continuous years, and how our students are escalating. We should escalate as well, moving higher and higher. And taking care of our students. And I want to say to our parents, thank you so much. I see it in the lower L's every time we go into schools for different events, how you're supporting and cultivating the children with the help of the teachers and the administration. I thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to serve on this board, and it's a great joy to be here. And again, summertime is coming. Please pay attention to our children. And I want to say this, and I'm looking into the camera: keep and make us accountable, because we should be accountable in sitting in all the 70 seats in the 7-man jurisdiction here as board members. And want to thank you again. Have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Roscoe. Thank you, board. We appreciate you all. I want to say this in rebuttal to the prosecutor. The prosecutor's office will be reissuing a statement because it was inaccurate when they originally did it. The parapro was placed on immediate leave while an internal investigation was conducted and was terminated once that investigation was complete. So they were immediately left. So don't worry, we're not letting people just stay up in here do mean things to the children. And so they're gonna do a press release with this, a revised press release with the inaccuracies corrected. Because we believe that our children deserve the best. And so we want you to come and let us know what we need to make sure that happen. And we want that to happen. We, just like Mr. Roscoe said, we want to be kept accountable, but we want to make sure the right news is being put out there. So don't worry, she was terminated. She was let go when she was supposed to be. I just want to say the conference that we went to this past week and the day at Lansing was an eye-opening experience for me because we had more than our usual people with us, almost the whole board with us, and we received so much admiration, I guess is the right word, that we are able to work together despite our differences. It's okay to not agree. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have conversation. And when we go to some of the meetings, some of the board members don't even speak to each other. And so for us to even be up here and be able to talk to one another is a good thing. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody who made it. And I missed the other two who didn't make it. And don't worry, you'll get a chance to see what it's like. It's like family when you go to these and you get to see all the people from all the districts and hear what's going on around the county and the state. It is amazing the things that we learn when we go to these conferences, and I'm so glad we have that opportunity. And so I just want to say thank you so much, and meeting adjourned at 8:01.